Wait, before you click off, please hear me out for one sentence. Okay, here's the thing. I know that I look like this. I have no face. I know that the camera is horrible. But this isn't about that. This is about something else, okay? This is nothing groundbreaking, let's be honest. But I would ask that you please hear me out. This is more like a video essay type video. You know how it is. So, with that said, being out of the way, let's go. Problems with growth for small creators. By me, a small creator. Before we get into part 1, I would like to remind you of the story of Sisyphus. Basically, he was a guy who was punished by the gods, and in his punishment he had to carry up a boulder up to the peak of a mountain, and then it fell down all the time, so he had to do it again and again and again. His work gets nowhere, but he has to do it. This is a lot how this is very similar to how being a small creator feels like. You don't get anywhere, you make another thing, no one receives it. You make another thing, no one receives it. It is what it is, you know? And today I'd like to talk about sort of reflections on this. Basically, I've thought about this. Obviously, I'm in this position, I've thought about this. And so the question is, what are my conclusions? I don't have conclusions, but I definitely have thoughts. And I'd like to share these thoughts with anyone who wants to listen. So, here we go. Part 1. The view and subscriber problem. To be a small creator, you obviously have to be a small creator. It's obvious, you know? To be small is to have a small following. AKA few subscribers, okay? Which also means you get few views, okay? When you see a video with 5 views, are you gonna click on that video? The chances of the answer to that question being yes isn't very high, is it? So even if you get that video in your recommendations, will you actually contribute to further push this video? Chances are you won't. And this is the same for subscribers. If you see a channel with 3 subscribers, chances are the videos that this channel produces are gonna be pretty bad. I'm not saying that all are. I'm saying that statistically, this is a likely scenario, right? Which means that once you are in this space where you have no subscribers, you have no views, how are you gonna get out of it? Because simply the number being small leads to the number being smaller. Do you understand what I'm saying here? When you have few views, you will get few views because few people will click on a video with few views. And the same thing goes for subscribers. When you have few subscribers, few people are gonna see your videos and few people are gonna subscribe because you have few subscribers. It's a bad cycle, right? The fewer subscribers you have, the fewer people are inclined to click on the subscribe button because of your few subscribers. And the same thing goes for views. The less views a video has, the less views the video will get, because people will not click on a video with few views. And this is a problem. This is the problem YouTube can solve. This is a fundamental problem in the thinking, which automatically puts small creators at a disadvantage. Creators with particularly, I'd say, less than 1,000 subscribers. Maybe it's earlier actually, like 700. But there is some point that when you see a channel with 5 subscribers, are you gonna think this is a good channel? Chances are, no. Chances are you simply aren't. Now I know that I've already breached 100 subscribers a couple of times.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man.
Oh my god, my statistics are something else. But yeah, this is a fundamental problem, and this is one of the problems. That's part one. This video is... Oh my god. Okay, good luck watching the rest of this video, because it's going downhill from here. Part 2. The 3 capitalist principles. Okay, right off the bat, I know that sounds weird. I know that the 3 capitalist principles doesn't sound like something about YouTube. But I'm explaining something that I... Okay, calling it a principle is the wrong word. But it is... it's like, by... how should I call this? An effect of capitalism. When a society is capitalist, this thing happens. Which is the first of the 3 capitalist principles. There are actually 4, but you know, we're getting to that. The first of the 3 capitalist principles is as follows. And this is the real one. The other ones I've made up. But they make sense, so you just hear me out here. So the first one is, when you have a lot of money, it's easy for you to get more money. This is very simple. When you have a lot of money, you have more money to risk, to invest. You can start a company for all I care. Like, you have so many more options when you have a lot of money, so that it becomes so much easier for you to get more money once you have a lot of money. And this is not like having 100 of something, and then 20% makes it 120, but have it 200, and then 20%, that's an increase of 40 instead of a quick increase of 20. No, when you have 200, you can risk 100 of that and earn more. It makes sense, okay? I don't need to explain this, it makes sense. You get it, you probably get it. So that's the first one, and that's like the real one, that when you have a lot of money, you use money to get more money. And that one, I'm calling the capo-capitalist principle, okay? The second one, which now the ones that I've made up start, but they make sense as well, is the capo-followerist principle, which is, if you have a lot of money, and now we're getting to the YouTube stuff, if you have a lot of money, it's easy for you to get a lot of followers. A lot of money equals easy path to a lot of followers. It is that simple. You can spend more money on production. You can use like Mr. Beast type content, right? Where you invest a lot in each video, and so the sort of quality of the video is automatically drastically improved. These kinds of things are a consequence of you having a lot of money. With little money, you can't do this. With a lot of money, you can do it. You can hire an editor. You can even pay for advertising. There are so many more options open to you once you have a lot of money, which most don't. Most creators don't have a lot of money on day one. In fact, I'd say most creators are rather poor on day one. And so they are at an automatic disadvantage compared to the creators with a lot of money. So that's the capo-followerist principle, that with money you can create a large following. Then comes the followerist principle. And this one doesn't have anything to do with capitalism, but it's sort of structured the same way as the other is the capo-capitalist one. When you have a lot of followers, it's easy for you to get a lot of followers. And this actually goes surprisingly deep. Let's see here. Say you are big on television. You have had your own TV program, things are going real well, or just that you are a TV host for all I care. You're just a host for the news. If you start a YouTube channel, you will automatically, like purely automatically, have a following you can already use. You will already have like a background following. Then there are so many examples of this. Like, I think Jake and/or Logan Paul, they were on Disney Channel, right? And that's just one example. If they were on Disney Channel, of course, they're easily gonna grow a large following someplace else. They already have a base to draw from. And then they have breached the thing I talked about before, where if you have few followers, you get few followers. It's the same idea here. You automatically have a lot of followers, which means that it's easier for you to grow that, just like the capo-capitalist principle. there is also another aspect of this. If you, and this is a bit more complicated, if you get a large following from, let's say, doing reviews on furniture. You do furniture reviews, okay? But in these videos, you don't just do furniture reviews. You also sprinkle a bit of personality on there. Just a little sprinkle, you know? This sprinkle will distinguish you and will make people perhaps not follow you necessarily for the furniture reviews. Perhaps they will instead follow you for the sprinkling, the personality of the creator. And once you have this, you have a core audience that follows you for the furniture. You have a core audience that follows you for the personality. You can now branch out. You can now have a video where instead of furniture, you do something completely different. You go on a boat tour. Like you hop on a boat, you go touring, it's a vacation video, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, okay? But you do something completely different, and you will keep one of these two core audiences. Not the furniture one, but the sprinkling one, the personality one. You will keep this one, because they're already interested in you. Not just what you do, but your personality is intriguing to them, is entertaining to them, right? And so you can branch out, and now you will suddenly have a hold of the boat community, right? You will have a hold of the boat community, and some of the people in the boat community will start following you for the personality. And you can keep on like jumping between subjects, picking little parts of the community, also the base communities like this, and like sort of collecting people as you go. And you can't do that if you don't grow a large following first. That whole idea rests on you at getting a following in a niche and then expanding beyond that niche. But you have to have personality, because otherwise it simply will not work. If you don't have that core personality thingy that you can sort of carry with you all the time, the people will not follow you either. Okay, so the followerist principle. Then there is technically the follow capitalist principle, which is that if you have a lot of followers, it's easy for you to get a lot of money, and that sort of just makes sense. You can sell things to your followers, you can sell merch, you can if you get like a sponsorship, I think you would get more money, etc., etc. It makes sense. Like with a lot of large following, you will also get more money, and with more money, you can get a larger following, and etc., etc. So really, all these are just an extension of the capitalist principle, where if you have a lot of money, you can get more money, but you can just use it in a sort of follower-oriented path. Okay, so that's this part. So these parts, I didn't expect me to be this energetic. I was just that didn't make any sense. Okay, next part. I think this is gonna be the longest part. Part 3. What is needed to break the cycle? Okay, I've already mentioned 2 of these examples, but I want you to think of any large channel. They have to be like several million subscribers. Or actually, they don't need to be that big at all. But just any channel which succeeded. I want you to think of any channel which succeeded. Pick one. And now think to yourself, did any of the things that I'm about to say, do they apply to it? And if they don't, I have another little theory that we're gonna get to after this part, okay? So, there are 4 main ways, which I have sort of discovered that you can not cheat the algorithm or like grow huge. Well, you can grow huge overnight through these, but they're not simple is the problem. So the first 2 I've already mentioned, which is 1, invest a ton of money in what you do. In that way, you can do unique things which no one else has done. In that way, you can do advertising, all the things I mentioned before. And these will you can artificially make your channel grow in such an insane way, you know? That's number 1. Number 2 is as I said before, also one of the 4 capitalist principles. I said 3 and I said 4. I don't know how to count them, but you know, another one of them is the following principle, where if you have a large following from elsewhere, you can gain a large following on day 1, right? There are several examples of this where someone is known from before and then their channel grows overnight. Like there are several channels of like, not celebrities, but people who are known from other places that where they have like 0 videos or videos from 6 years ago, and yet they're like at 1 million subscribers and they've all gained the 1 million in like the past year, right? And this is all because of people know them from elsewhere and then they subscribe, right? But now we get to the 2 other things, and these two are feasible. These 2 are the only ones that are like, you can do these. The other 2 are like, if you're fortunate, you can just use the way you are already fortunate in the YouTube space. But these two are different, okay? The first one is be the first. This is simple. This is simple, but really hard to actually do in principle. It's a simple idea, but hard in practice, okay? So the idea is just pick a subject. If you are the first one to cover this niche, you will grow large. This isn't just the principle for creators. This is the principle for governments, no, not governments. I mean businesses, etc., right? There are more ways than one in which this can be used, or in more sectors than one. And this is like the YouTube sector, right? So what are we talking about? We're talking about things like there's a new game called the hit video game Genshin Impact just dropped. No, we're not using Genshin Impact as an example. Okay, so a new game just dropped. This is a huge Lord of the Rings MMORPG. If you don't know what that means, doesn't matter. It's a new game, brand new game, becomes big overnight, super hyped. No one is a creator dedicated to this game yet. There are no creators for this game, for this niche, which has exploded overnight. If you become the first one, the chances of you gaining a large following, they are so large. If no one else starts their channel on day 1, and you do, how likely is it not that you will get a huge following right away? And there are several historical examples of like one of the first gaming YouTubers, one of the first YouTubers for this game, one of the first comedy groups. Like there are several examples of this, and they were first, and so they are automatically huge, right? They're the only ones that have covered this. The second one, and this one is very loose, but I have some examples that, well, I have one good example. The other ones are like a bit, they're not as good. But if you make something where you're not the first to do something like this, but you do it in a way, in such an extraordinary way, where no one else has done it in the way you do it. The example I'm going to bring to the table is Kane Pixels, okay? Kane Pixels exploded overnight because he made an animation of the backrooms. That has been done before. There have been YouTubers which cover the backrooms. That's a phenomenon from before. There have been plenty of animations. Like, no, really, that he made an animation about the backrooms. That's what he did, and he exploded. But that's because of the sheer quality and how unique his work is. And this is what I'm talking about. When you have something which is extraordinary, simply extraordinary, where you make something that no one else has done in the way you do it. You're not first. He wasn't the first to cover the backroom. He wasn't the first to make some kind of story about it. He wasn't the first to make an animation. But he was the first to do it in this caliber, if you get what I'm saying. He did something extraordinary. And this is what I'm talking about. I don't really have any other good examples, but I promise you that there are other good examples of this. I swear. Like, I don't, I can't think of any now, but, you know, you will find them if you just look for them a little bit, okay? Okay, part 4, the exceptions. So, I know I just said that these are like the ways to go big, and if you thought of a channel, I think that it's pretty likely that you thought of someone who did one of these things, where they did one of these 4, they were big before, they had a lot of money, they did something extraordinary, or they were first, right? I think those are very likely. But when I thought about this a little more, I realized that there are a couple exceptions. And the 2 that I wrote down are many of the gaming channels aren't they didn't do an extraordinary, and they weren't first. They were just another gaming channel, and they were just another gaming channel. Like, both of those kind of fit the same. They were another gaming channel, and the other one is they were just another gaming channel, right? But they have grown big nonetheless. Interesting. Okay, the other one is commentary people. Same thing there. They all cover the same things. Not all of them, but like there are commentary people in different niches. But they're all commentary people. There is this one new, breaking news, this guy did this thing. You know, how many people aren't doing that? But for some reason, there are several which are very large. And why is this? And my conclusion is that large niches, like when you have something very large like gaming, like commentary, which is a form of news, I guess, or information, like educational content, I suppose. When you have something very large, a large niche, the large niche creates smaller niches. For instance, you may be just another commentary guy, okay? But you are the commentary guy who is funny. No other commentary guy is as funny as you are. Or you are just another commentary guy, but no one is as genuine as you are. Or you are just another commentary guy, but you are the sarcastic commentary guy. Or the stupid. Like, a large niche creates smaller niches. When a subject, when a category is large enough and enough people want to see it, they will want to have a bit of variation to pick and choose from, right? And so this creates the larger niches, which often, I think, comes down to personality, where someone is the funny one, or the genuine one, or the stupid one. Like, little variations, even though they're largely doing the same thing, it sort of works. And this one, I think, if you are gonna aim for something, this is probably gonna be the hardest one, because this isn't a clear path. This one feels the most like luck, because every person is unique, right? Every person is truly unique. So if every person in the world had their very own YouTube channel, no one would be particularly big, is what it feels like. If everyone tried to do this, I don't think we would get a lot of large YouTube channels. I think that the 4 ones have a large following from before, you have a lot of money. What were the other 2? Be the first, do something extraordinary. I think these 4 are the most likely to get you to explode, but the others are more like, well, or this having the small niche in the large niche is more of a, well, it works sometimes. But the other ones are kind of bulletproof, I think, or more so at least than this one. So this is just sort of a comment on which channels don't fit the category for the other way to grow large. Part 5. The algorithm. The algorithm is a complicated subject, right? No one quite understands it. We all just kinda understand it. Of course, as a small creator, I don't understand it, otherwise I wouldn't be a small creator. But what I can say is that it clearly doesn't push small creators enough, right? I think that most people agree on this. It has gotten better in recent times, but it is not quite there yet, I think. They did this hype feature. I've never used it yet, because I don't understand how it hasn't even popped up for me. I don't know, man. But what I can tell you is that it's supposed to be there somewhere. Go find it. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, it's not that good. And particularly, something which I personally have noticed, because look at these stats. Look at this graph! You know? You'll see that... What is this? So, this is Swedish. What I'm saying is, this isn't how many views the video has gotten, this is how many times the video has been sent out to people's, like, recommended. Which means that, of course, it isn't gonna get a lot of views when no one has the option of seeing the video. This is almost gonna make me upset now, because how are you expecting to grow when no one has the option, when no one is given the literal option to watch the video? How is the video gonna perform? What? YouTube wants people to watch YouTube, okay? That's like the main goal, okay? So, can you make sure that they have the option of watching something that they may enjoy, perhaps? You know? Can you give the option to small guys like myself to become the big guys? Because if I don't have the option, I'm not gonna do like, what? How are you expecting any small creators to do literally anything if they don't get the opportunity to grow? If they don't get growth, I will be disappointed. We're actually getting to something like that pretty soon. Actually, we're getting to something like that right now. Part 6. Mentality. So, particularly with the last thing that I just mentioned, when you realize all of these things, like, oh, I need to do something extraordinary, oh, I need to be the first, because these things are not easy to do. You will not, when you realize all the things that I've realized, you will think, well, damn, what do I do now? Because obviously there is a way somewhere, but I don't know where that way is. I don't know what it would be. It would be some convoluted ass, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you don't feel too great about the position you're in as a small creator when you realize all these things. Particularly with the last part, with the goddamn algorithm, because I can't grow if... Okay, I'm not gonna go on that, I'm not gonna get there again. But you get the idea. And another thing I also want to mention about the mentality, which sort of becomes a mental struggle for smaller channels, is, and this is pretty interesting, I think. When you watch YouTube, because obviously smaller channels probably consume YouTube as well. When you watch YouTube, all of the channels, every single one, all the channels that you're watching will, and listen to this very carefully, already have succeeded. Perhaps not all of them, but like 99.9% of the channels you're watching will have already succeeded, or at least the videos you're watching. Because if you are watching them, they have reached you. And if they have reached you, they have succeeded, right? Right? This makes sense. This isn't illogical. This makes sense. If they reached you, they succeeded. If you're consuming a video, the video was sent to consumers and thereby succeeded, right? Thereby, you will never see channels which have failed. Sometimes you get the occasional, 5 subscriber, 3 view channel. But, like, you get what I'm saying. The vast majority of content you consume is content from people who have succeeded. You won't see the things that have failed because they failed, right? And what this does is that it sort of messes with your head. You think that everyone succeeds. You think that everyone has succeeded. Why haven't I succeeded? But that isn't the case, because I don't know how many millions of channels there are out there of people who haven't succeeded, where they have 50 videos with 10 views each, I don't know how many of those channels there are out there, because I'm never gonna see those videos because they have failed, right? it's a sort of consequence of itself. And when you've seen nothing that fails, you will feel like you're alone in failing. And when you feel that, you feel worse again. So the point with the mentality part that we're on right now is that sort of everything actively pushes you down. That was a pretty cool effect. And that's the point of this. You get pushed down with the realizations, you get pushed down with what you're consuming, and what thought process that leads to, right? So that's what I wanted to say here, which is like a further problem for small creators, that it leads to like, not necessarily a mental struggle, but you know, you get what I'm saying. It leads to a questionable mindset, which isn't actually profitable for anyone. That's what it leads to. Conclusion. There is no conclusion. Well, there is this part, which is the conclusion, so there is more or less a conclusion. But I don't know what that conclusion would be, really. I wrote IDK, it's hard, as my conclusion, basically. That, like, YouTube is hard. It's not straightforward, even though I have these, like, baseline ideas. It's not like I can just do them. That's like, one of the main problems. And I'd also like to say that if you think I missed something in this analysis thingy, do let me know in the comments, or DMs, because most people probably have my DMs. And the other conclusion I wrote is, I won't stop yet. I just don't know what to do, nor if it's worth focusing on one thing for a while to build a following. Which is sort of what I mentioned before with like the hopping stuff. That I'm not quite... I wouldn't be content in really reaching for a niche. And the thing is also that if I was to reach for a niche, I would need to find a niche, that's one. And two, I would need to find a niche that I would be content with doing like at least many videos for, to then jump. You know, to then jump around and pick people like I talked about before. And I don't know what that niche would be. I don't know what that would be at all. Maybe it would be videos like this. And in that case, I don't know what else I would make a video about, especially if I'm gonna stay away from politics. Maybe I won't. Here's the thing. I'm starting to think like, maybe I should just do stuff at this point. And that's bad for the channel. And also good for the channel, maybe. See, this... Oh. Yeah. Conclusion. IDK, it's hard. Like I wrote. Yeah, that's the end of this video. If you liked it, if you feel like, this guy deserves to subscribe, you can subscribe. If you didn't like it, I don't know, you can comment that this was bad because you can give constructive criticism. That was actually pretty good. If you feel neutral, at least I think I made some kind of impression. I think that's good. This is a pretty good thumbnail. That's not gonna be the thumbnail though, because this is more for this situation. What the hell is this? Okay. Anyways, that's the video. Funny outro.